So with the core set, we got 235 new cards. That's a lot of cards to go over. I do have a general overview in this video if you want to check it out. And then I think I'm going to go over new cards in this video. And I think I'll make another video later for change cards, and then another one for cards that are going out, cards that are returning, and then another one for cards that are staying, because there's just so much content to be made here. So I am going to be doing a giveaway for the smaller bundle, courtesy of Blizzard. They give me a code. So all you have to do is you got to like the video, you got to subscribe, and just leave a comment. And then I'll scroll through the comments, choose a random commenter, and I will reply to them. And yeah, just be sure to pay attention to your notifications, respond to me within, I will say, like 24 hours. And then I'll give you the small bundle. So I'm going to start with the neutral cards and then move towards the class cards. And I'll have links in the description and in the pinned comment, so you can skip if you just want to see a certain class. But let's go ahead and start with neutral cards here. We got Fog Sail Freebooter, a 2-mana 2/2 pirate with the battle cry. If you have a weapon equipped, deal 2 damage. Very important that it has the pirate tag here. The stats are okay, but being able to do 2 damage, kind of reminiscent of SI7 Agent to me. Really good, right? If it was a 2/3, it'd be insanely good. If it was a 3/2, also insanely good. And it does have that condition where you probably don't want to tempo this out. You probably want to get value, meaning you want a weapon equipped, meaning this probably is not going to be played on turn 2, because you need a weapon. Most weapons are 2 or 3 mana, and so it is probably not going to happen on turn 2, you know? So maybe you use this turn 3, turn 4, or something like that. Or maybe you're using Ankar and Ankar pulls this. Does Ankar rotate? I actually don't remember. But yeah, this card seems solid in some sort of pirate deck, in some sort of weapon aggro deck. And in Rogue, maybe we're going to be seeing a decent amount of this, because, I mean, Rogue has a really easy way to generate a weapon. But overall, I do like this card. We also have Overlord Run Thrack, 5 mana 3/6 with Rush. Whenever this attacks, give +1/+1 to all minions in your hand. Now, this seems really good if it's hitting at least 2 minions. If it's hitting 3, 4, you're going to be pretty happy. And also, your opponent kind of has to deal with this, kind of reminiscent of Krasinov to me. Krasinov gets the value immediately on your weapon, and that's great. But you know, maybe they leave Krasinov up, and you get 2 durability, 2 +1/+1 to your weapon out of Krasinov. That's insane, and your opponent's really going to regret that. So I think it's kind of similar with Overlord Run Thrack. They're going to really try and remove this as soon as you put it on the board. So you put it out, hopefully it kills something, forces removal, and if they don't remove it, you're going to punish them. Imagine getting 3 swings off of this guy. It's going to be pretty cool. I feel like there might be some crazy OTK combos with Overlord that I'm not even thinking of. But yeah, this card, I think people are kind of sleeping on this a little bit. I don't really know the general consensus, but I think we're going to be seeing a decent amount of that card. Oh god, this card's even better. Talon Forging, 5 mana 3/3 taunt Divine Shield. With the Death Rattle, draw your highest cost minion. So a targeted draw is so good. It's not a random card, it's not a minion from your deck, it's not a spell even. It's your highest cost minion, so you know what you're going to be getting. Maybe you got Ysera, the Unleashed or whatever, the one that puts a lot of portals in. Like maybe you know that's in there, or maybe you want the new DQA and this is gonna pull that, or maybe you want Yasiraj or Cthulhu. Maybe you complete Cthulhu and then you throw this out and you're gonna guarantee that you draw your Cthulhu or something like that. It's similar to Polkelt. Polkelt was so good because you could pretty much guarantee that you were gonna draw, you know, your most expensive card next. So I think this is fantastic inclusion. Not only that, it is very proactive. It has taunt and Divine Shield, right? So your opponent has to deal with it. They pretty much have to trigger that Death Rattle. There's not a lot of silences going on. So I think we're going to see a lot of this, especially in control decks. In aggro decks, probably not going to see this. In mid-range, maybe you end up putting this as well. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Even like some sort of OTK Hunter, maybe running like Lerox, what's his name? And like some crushes and stuff like this. This would be solid. But yeah, I really like this card. The design of this is great in my opinion. We got Nozdormu, the Eternal here. 7 mana, 8/8, good stats. Low mana, right? 7 mana for an 8/8 is pretty premium. It's a dragon as well. But the cool thing is just if both players are running this, it's like a blitz mode where each player only has 15 seconds for their turns. So I don't know who's actually going to run this if you're trying to be competitive, but the flavor of this is just it's so good. And I think maybe I think I kind of want to like run a tournament or something where players are playing decks that have to have Nozdormu. So it's like a blitz tournament. I think that would be really fun. But yeah, as far as being actually played in competitive decks, I feel like probably not. But it's 7 mana, 8/8. It's not terrible. If you're trying to shove in dragon, get some dragon consistency, I just don't think it's worth unless you know your opponent's also going to be running this, because that just makes it fun. We have Alex, the new Alex, 9 mana, 8/8. Choose a friendly character. Oh, sorry. Choose a character. If it's friendly, restore 8 health. If it's an enemy, deal 8 damage. So this is really good. I think Alex Straza was always a little bit awkward because maybe you chipped your opponent to a 14 health or maybe a 16, 17, and then you get Alex and it's like you only take off 2 health, or maybe you even end up healing them, or maybe you end up healing yourself, but it's only for 1 or something like that. Like it ended up being a little bit awkward. So there are pros and cons to both, but I think I like this one better overall because, well, maybe your opponent has 16 health, maybe they have 14 health, and you chunk them for 8. Or maybe you have 22 health and you could just throw this out and heal yourself 8. Like that's pretty good. So I think this is a bit more flexible. It's a little bit less awkward to play with at times, and yeah, really, really cool. And I love the art as well. We got Malygos, the new Malygos here, 9 mana, 4/12, same stat line. Draws spells until your hand is full. Not as cool as the other Mally. The +5 spell damage will definitely be missed, but I think this card is okay in slower decks. And then also, I think there's going to be some sort of spell decks that are introduced. I still think you can do some crazy combos where you put a bunch of cheap spells in your deck. Maybe you play Talon Forging in order to maybe get that Malygos, and then you dump your hand somehow. You play the Malygos, you draw these cheap spells. I don't know, Lightning Bolt, Lava Burst is gone, I think, right? No, just getting a bunch of cheap spells in your hand, then playing a bunch of spell damage minions, and then just chunking at your opponent's face. But yeah, even just drawing 2, 3, 4 cards off of this in like some sort of top deck battle, it seems like it's gonna be pretty solid. So the card overall, pretty cool. I think one of the less exciting of the new dragons, but yeah, still pretty good. We have Onyxia here, which is essentially Shuma reskinned, right? A little bit. Shuma was, had tentacles. This has whelps, but it's still pretty cool. It is 9 mana. It's pretty much the same thing as other Onyxia, except it's going to constantly refill that board. So it punishes your opponent if they do not deal with this. Now, people are asking me a lot about this because I'm like the main Shuma person, I guess. And I mean, the main reason I liked Shuma was for Quest Hunter. Quest Hunter is not going to be a thing anymore, at least not in standard. So I don't know if you actually want to run this. I think if I did end up playing Wild, I think this would fit really well into some sort of dragon Quest Hunter. I think that'd be pretty good. But yeah, Onyxia, not bad. Definitely an upgraded version of Onyxia. And if there does end up being a tokeny deck, I guess this could be it. I believe Savage Roar was taken away from Druid, so I don't know if this would even fit in some sort of token Druid. We have Ysera the Dreamer here. Now these cards are not updated. Let me see if I can find these. But this Ysera is pretty insane because one of the main drawbacks of the old Ysera was that you didn't really get that much value. Maybe you'd get 1 dream card and then Ysera would die the next turn. Well, now you're going to get all the dream cards immediately. So as long as you have the hand space, you're going to get insane value from this. Let me look for the new dream card. So here are the new dream cards. I couldn't find the Emerald Drake one, but Ysera Awakens now 3 mana, does 5 damage to all minions except Ysera. This used to hit all characters, right? Dream is now 1 mana, and has to be an enemy minion. So still really good, like a 1 mana sap. Sap is gone, so Dream is pretty solid. People were thinking you can go infinite with Ysera because you could play Ysera, then Dream your own Ysera. Now it has to be an enemy, and it's 1 mana. You have Nightmare, given minion +4/+4. Really, really good here still. It used to be 5/5, right? Laughing Sister, I think this is the same. I'm pretty sure this is the same. And then, yeah, the Emerald Drake, which you can kind of see in the bottom here. I think Emerald Drake might be the same, but don't quote me on that one. It was kind of hard to find these images. So overall, Ysera seems solid. I think this and Alex are going to be the most played new old dragons. So we got Deathwing the Destroyer, 10 mana, 12/12 dragon with battlecry destroy all other minions. Discard a card for each destroyed. This seems really solid. I think it might actually see a little bit of play. The other Deathwing, no one was really playing it, maybe in like discard warlocks and stuff, but in the current meta, nobody was playing Deathwing. I think this might actually see some play, or you're not going to feel bad pulling this off of maybe a random dragon generation. It is pretty good because maybe your opponent doesn't have anything on the board. You could just tempo out a 10 mana 12/12 as opposed to being like, well, I'm gonna discard my whole hand. So the fact that maybe you just discard 1 or 2, not too penalizing when you have like an 8-card hand, right? If your opponent just throws out 1 massive minion, you could put out Deathwing and hope you don't discard 1 specific card in particular. So I do think this might see play in some control decks. Definitely a lot better than the old Deathwing. And if your opponent does have a massive board and you discard your whole hand, it's still probably not as bad as the old Deathwing. So just a massive upgrade to the old one. We have Warsong Outrider here. Okay, we're moving to Warrior. This is taking place of Kor'kron Elite, I guess, because Kor'kron is gone and was filling that 4 mana slot. Kor'kron was fantastic. This, not so much. It does have Rush. And I do like Rush being used. I do love fighting for board. I think that's one of the best parts of Hearthstone, promoting interactivity and playing with your opponent as opposed to, playing solitaire. So I do like that they're leaning towards that, but at the same time, stats on this, not very good. It could be used as removal, sure, but I think in most warrior decks, you're probably not going to run this unless it is some sort of Rush warrior. There are some Rush Warrior decks out there right now, and I still think this just doesn't make the cut. But if they start incentivizing Rush even more, buffing up minions that have Rush or something like that, or maybe even you put this in some sort of hand buff with that other legendary card, like this could be interesting. But overall, I am not too happy about this. We got War Cache here, new spell. It's just like Hunter's Pack, right? Kind of just like Hunter's Pack. But Hunter's Pack, your Hunter's really aggressive, and it wasn't good. But War Cache, you get a random minion, spell, and weapon, and Warrior's a bit more control-y, a bit slower. So I think this just fits better in Warrior decks. So I think War Cache might see some play if you're trying to play the long con and you just want a little bit more value in your deck. Although I feel like maybe you could just slot in some big minions instead. But again, like getting this randomly off of something could be solid. And yeah, I like War Cache overall. We got the Blood Sail Deckhand, 1 mana 2/1. Battle Cry, the next weapon you play costs 1 less. This is so good. Plus it's got that pirate tag. So really, like, it's a 0 mana 2/1 that might let you play your weapon sooner, playing this on turn 1, very good. I think as a 1 mana 1/2, this would still be solid, but I do like the aggressive stat line. I think this might be really good for some sort of pirate warrior. I know people don't like pirate warrior, and maybe pirate warrior won't be a thing, but there are some strong pirates, although we're losing stuff like Deckhand and Greenskin, which kind of hurts the archetype as a whole. But overall, I think this card is going to see a lot of play, going to fit probably in decks that aren't pirate as well, just for a little bit of early game and being able to equip those weapons a bit sooner. Enslaved Fellord, a 7 mana 4/10 with taunt, also damages minions next to whomever this attacks, and it's a demon. So a Warlock card here, big taunt for Warlock. Warlock doesn't really play big demons. I think this would be very interesting in something like a Quest lock, but Quest is not going to be here anymore. So in Wild, maybe you mess around with this, but Some sort of Willow Lock might be interesting with this. Also, pulling it off of free admission is actually no joke. So if you do go a demon build, maybe even play what the imp mama, what that thing that summoned 2 things. It was like a high main, but it summoned demon. I don't know. I really like that card, and no one played it. But maybe we're gonna see some sort of mid-range demon warlock like this with this on a broomstick. Good God, this is gonna be nutty on a broomstick. Nice little cleave action. So I think this is, the more I think about it, the more I actually like this card because of free admission. I think free admission's busted. So I think any mid-range demon in general is gonna be good. Free admission discounts too, right? So playing this on turn 5, massive. Or playing free admission on turn 3 and coining this out on turn 4, pretty insane. So yeah, the more I think about this, the more I like it. I think a lot of people are hating on this card, and I do kind of see where that comes from because it just seems slow. But great stat line, taunt, really nice. The main part that I worry about is it's got to stick around a turn in order to get its effect, unless you're giving it rush, right? So maybe this just doesn't really do anything. It's just a 7 mana 4/10 and it dies, and you pay a little bit more for that cleave, but it never ends up happening. Fellsoul Jailer, 5 mana 4/6. Again, this is another thing that's fantastic off of free admission. So a 5 mana 4/6 that could be a 3 mana 4/6. That is a lot of stats, plus that little bit of hand disruption. Your opponent discarding a minion with the Death Rattle, return it. Seems so good. People are saying they can, silence their Fellsoul Jailer afterwards. I don't think that's really going to happen because who's going to run like an owl unless there's some other form of silence that gets included. But Fellsoul Jailer, good stats, a little bit of hand disruption. Maybe your opponent's got that, I don't know, they're running some sort of combo deck and you end up just discarding that one card. So maybe like they're going for some Il'gynoth OTK. Is that still in the, I don't know if that's still, but just for example, like, they got Il'gynoth or like Moargs or something, and you just throw this out and you ruin that game plan for them until they have to kill this, meaning they have to waste resources on this, they delay a turn. So I like it. And the stats, it's not terrible. You are paying a bit of a premium, but again, off of free admission, this could be no joke. Ritual of Doom, 0 mana, destroy a friendly minion if you have 5 or more, summon a 5/5 demon. Kind of, I guess, similar to Sea Giant. Could be really good with the Nerubian Egg, because Nerubian Egg is getting added. But I don't know how often you're going to have that many things. Do you really want this in a zoo deck? Maybe. I don't know. I personally, I'm not too excited about this card. I don't think it's going to see too much play. A lot of people are saying it's like quite good because 0 mana 5/5, but I guess at best it's a 0 mana 4/4. Which sounds fantastic, but that condition of having to have 5 minions or more on the board, I think that's kind of hard to meet. So maybe, no, I don't think it's going to see too much play. Novice Zapper, onto Shaman here, a 1 mana 3/2, spell damage +1, overload 1. This card is so good. That's such a good stat line. It's so aggressive. I think this is going to be played in all Shaman decks, even slow control-y Shaman decks. This is great for early game control, or even late game if you want to combo this with Tidal Wave or Earthquake or anything like that, like Lightning Storm. Like this is gnarly. This is such a good card. I think this is going to be This might be one of the best cards, I think, that we've seen in the core set. This is 5 out of 5 for me. This is fantastic. The overload can actually be beneficial to you as well. Like throwing this out and then doing landslide, pretty insane. We got Vanessa Van Cleef here, a 2 mana 2/3 legendary for rogue with combo at the end of, add a copy of the last card your opponent played to your hand. So your opponent has to be mindful of the order that they play their cards, which I think is a fun little mind game, fun thing to play around, which I like, in addition to your opponent or the person actually playing Vanessa has to be paying attention to what your opponent plays, and then your opponent has to be wary, oh, my opponent might have Vanessa, and you know what I mean. It's just fun to play around. So I do like that. Similar to, I like how people have to play around with positioning. I always think that's cool. Like, oh, I'm playing against Hunter, I have to remember to play around crushing walls. or, you know, rolling fireball and stuff like that. Explosive shot. So this is cool. I don't think it's that good. I think there are a lot of good cards like Tenwu. I thought was one of the best cards from last set. It doesn't see play. So maybe somehow this sees play, but I think it's a bit too slow. It's a bit too slow. So not too excited, although I do love the flavor of it. Being a Van Cleef, really cool. And the effect is awesome. But yeah, it doesn't seem too viable to me in a competitive sense. We got Shadowed Spirit, a 3-mana 4/3 priest card here. Very aggressively statted with the Death Rattle, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. This is interesting. I think priest is getting a lot of support for tempo-oriented archetypes, which I do like a lot. I think that's cool if they move away from the annoying, play your opponent's deck and just control and do nothing every turn to this tempo sort of play style. I'm all about it. I like the stat line. The Death Rattle is pretty good. It doesn't seem like an amazing card, but it could put a lot of pressure on your opponent. And imagine this just connects face once for 4, and then it dies and it does 3. So really cool. Yeah, just really like the direction that priest seems to be going, even though this card doesn't seem great to me. Thrive in the Shadows, essentially Shadow Visions, except Shadow Visions discovered a copy. This discovers a spell. So do you guys think that's better or worse? I think there are pros and cons. This will thin your deck because priest doesn't have much card draw. If you were getting a copy, it leaves a card in your deck and you're less certain about what your next pulls are going to be. So I think in the current state of priest, this is actually better than discovering a copy. So I like this quite a bit. Of course, there are going to be some times where maybe you wanted 2 copies of, I don't know, Plague of Death, or a 3rd copy of Plague of Death, right? Or that's going to rotate, right? Or like Soul Mirror, or whatever. But I do think this card is fantastic. This is a really good card, and I like the design of it. Shadow Visions, it was a little bit frustrating because it was a copy, but yeah, Thrive in the Shadows. I like this card. We got Focus Will, another priest card here. This is a silence. It could be used on any minion. Silences it, gives it 3 health. Now, at first I was thinking this would do great in a silence priest. You can silence your own Razor Leaf, and then you can hit it with an Inner Fire, but Inner Fire is gone. So this is interesting. Maybe you still play some sort of silence priest, but you're not doing Inner Fire, you're just hitting it with buffs and stuff like that. So maybe this will fit in a tempo oriented thing. One of the cool parts about silence priest is you could silence your own minions to make them stronger and actually able to attack, but you can also use those silences against your opponent's minions, right? Which often you wouldn't run the silences at all, but since you are running a silence deck, you put these and they give you the benefit where you can use them on your opponent's minions in addition to your own. So I don't think you're going to want to use this on your opponent's minions that often because it does give them health. But, maybe their Death Rattle is scary and you just got to do it. Or maybe they just got a crazy buff and you don't care to give them health. So this seems okay. And I'm glad they got rid of 0-mana silence. That was kind of frustrating. But the card seems good. I do want to mess around with it in some sort of silence tempo priest. I think that would be fun. But we'll see if it's actually viable. We got Crimson Clergy, a 1-mana 1/3. Again, this leans into the tempo sort of build here, maybe like an aggro or even mid-range sort of priest. This, after a friendly character is healed, gain +1 attack. So putting this on turn on 1, and then your opponent can't deal with it. Maybe put out another minion. Maybe that buffs this up, or maybe you buff this guy up, and then this guy ends up sticking around like the entire game. It just ends up being massive. Maybe you keep buffing it, giving it a little more health, and then it gets more attack and more health and more attack. And this guy just ends up being a beast that's just been sticking around for quite a while. So really cool. Again, liking the direction that priest seems to be going in. So we'll see what happens with Forged in the Baron cards. So hopefully they continue leaning in this direction and away from the control-y not even controlling priest, but like the random generation priest stuff has been really frustrating to me personally, and I know to a lot of my audience as well. We got the Paladin card here, Pursuit of Justice, 2 mana, give +1 attack to Silverhand recruits you summon this game. Now we're gonna see there's a lot of dude support. People love dude Paladin. It's just not viable right now, but I think it's definitely going to be viable. Looking at the new cards they're adding here, a permanent +1 attack to your hero power, making your hero power be 2 mana 2/1. And again, if you play 2 of these, it's a 2 mana 3/1. And then if you play a Lithraxian, which I think was one of the best cards from last set, now they have Divine Shield, 2 mana 3/1s with Divine Shield. It's going to take a while to set that up, but if you're playing a long con, it's a long game. This is no joke. You're actually going to get insane value from Pursuit of Justice. So I really like this. Dude Pally's always fun, so I like going that direction. Also, huge buff to Lithraxian indirectly. Reckoning, a new secret here. After an enemy minion deals 3 or more damage, destroy it. I like this quite a bit. I do think that it's kind of similar and reminiscent of Vaporize. I think Vaporize is gone, but Vaporize, no one really played it. Like, you'd play it randomly sometimes, but the main drawback of Vaporize was a little minion would slap into your face and just eat the Vaporize. And that kind of sucked. The fact that this kind of has that gate where they have to do 3 or more damage is so good. It helps you out so much that you know, if your opponent has a bunch of little tokens, it's not going to actually kill him. And maybe it ends up killing, I don't know, Deathwing or something instead. You do still take the damage, similar to Flame Ward, I believe. So yeah, and it could deal 3 damage to a minion. It doesn't have to do 3 damage to your face, right? So that's pretty good. And I love the art. This thing looks awesome. So yeah, really big fan of this secret. Really good card here. We got Aegwynn the Guardian, which is Medivh's mother. Really cool lore here. 5 mana 5/5 spell damage +2 with the death rattle. The next minion you draw inherits these powers. So the next minion, I assume, would get +2 spell damage in addition to the death rattle that it'll transfer to the next minion. So this is really fun. I wonder if this is going to be in a more like a minion based deck or some sort of combo deck. I feel like it'd be like a low curve minion deck where you end up playing this and you have a bunch of spells, and then next thing you know, you're throwing out, I don't know, Blood Mage Thalnos now has +3 spell damage, right? With death rattle, draw a card, and the next minion you draw has this. I imagine they stack, so that'd be pretty good. And then it's constantly going and stacking, and with people not really running silences right now, it seems even better. So this is going to be a really fun card. The stats, it's a little bit slow, but it does have that spell damage. So, you know, playing this and Arcane Explosion is gone, right? But now we have the Shooting Star. Like playing this in a Shooting Star, cleaning up the board, and then just constantly having that death rattle to kind of chip away at your opponent. I think this is quite flavorful. And again, Medivh's mom, so pretty cool. Selective Breeder, 2 mana 1/1 Battlecry. Discover a copy of a beast in your deck. I think this is fantastic. I see some people complaining about this card, thinking it's just not that good. Hunter did lose a lot of tools. We lost Unleash the Hounds, lost Kill Command, Houndmaster. Ooh, yeah, a lot of stuff was lost for Hunter. But Selective Breeder does give you that card draw that Hunter kind of needs. So this allows you to fill the curve. Maybe you have a Bear Shark in your hand. I know you got a 4-drop, you got a 5-drop, but you don't have a 6-drop. But you know you got Highmanes in your deck. So maybe you play this on 2 and you pull, you know, a copy of a Highmane. And then you just smooth out your curve. Not doing a lot on turn 2 because it's a 2 mana 1/1. It's pretty bad. But being able to smooth out your curve, maybe you do this so you curve into a Bear Shark more consistently. That seems totally worth it to me. I like this card a lot. Also enables a lot of combos. Maybe you're gonna pull, you know, more crushes, put more crushes in your hand so you can play Leerox and do some crazy combos. So I like this a lot. People are saying it's bad. I think it's very exciting. It also enables a lot of fun meme decks. So I'm pretty big on selective breeder. Nordrassil Druid, 4 mana, 3/5 battle cry. The next spell you cast this turn costs 3 less. This is an interesting card to me. A lot of people saying this is just OP, this is busted, and I think it's really good. I think it's kind of, it reminds me of is it Nubisath Defender, the taunt that becomes free if you cast a 5 mana spell or whatever. 6 minutes, I don't remember. I don't really play Druid, but this is effectively a 1 mana 3/5, right? So if you have Nourish, it costs 6. You play this on, you got to play 7 mana. You play this, and then Nourish now costs 3. So you paid 1 mana for a 3/5, which is an insane tempo swing. But I don't know if it's really worth all the rage that it's getting. Maybe if we still have a ton of draw, I don't know, overflow, playing this and then doing like an overflow. I don't know. I like it. I like the Anubisath Defender quite a bit more. And Defender was a really good card. I'd say that was probably a 5 out of 5 card. I'd say this is like a 3.5. It is a 1 mana 3/5, which is fantastic. But the thing is, you can't play it till later. So you get these crazy swingy turns later on. Playing this and then like some AoE to clear up your opponent board, it could be an insane swing turn. So I do see where this could be nutty. I also see where it kind of could just be meh. Corvus Bloodthorn. I think this is like one of the only minions with charge, with a charge keyword, right? Aside from Crush. 2 mana, 2/2. Charge, lifesteal. After you play a card with Outcast, return this to your hand. So it's kind of like Penflinger, a little bit of altruist action in there. So you end up playing this. Hey loser, you punch your opponent in the face. Then you play a Outcast card. This comes back, you play it again, hit him again, play another Outcast card, wait for next turn, and then just constantly do that. So this also, you have to play a card with Outcast. It can't just be your left or rightmost card, right? So it's a little bit harder to actually activate, I think. But seems okay. I honestly think Penflinger is a lot more frustrating than this card could be. But I could see this being a problematic card with future designs and cheap Outcast cards. Hopefully they get rid of cheap Outcast cards. Ildari Inquisitor, 8 mana, 8/8 demon. This kind of has charge. It has rush. You'll see what I mean in a second. But after your hero attacks an enemy, this attacks it too. So if you play this on 9 mana, it's essentially Crush because it's a Demon Hunter card. You hero power, you play this, you punch your opponent in the face, and this is also going to hit them in the face. Because after your hero attacks an enemy, this attacks it too. It doesn't say after your hero attacks a minion, this attacks it too. So kind of crazy. Every turn this can do, it's 16 to your opponent's face. So like if this sticks around a turn, you just slap your opponent in the face, punch him in the face. That's going to be 17 damage? It's kind of crazy. I think this card is like 5 out of 5. Another one of the best cards that we've seen from this set. Maybe I'm missing something, but this seems bonkers. Also, you can discount it with that 4 mana card, right? And then you can duplicate this. Oh, this is going to be insane. All right, last card, the Gnarg Glavesmith, 3 mana, 3/2 demon. With Outcast, give your hero +3 attack this turn. So pretty cool. Stats are okay. Actually, stats are pretty bad for a 3-drop, really. Let's be real. But it does have that Outcast, which is pretty insane. Twin Slice is gone, thank goodness. So maybe if they're reaching for a little additional damage, this might be the way to go about that, because you get 3 damage. It'll add up, right? Also, it kind of ends up working with Corvus, because playing an Outcast card. So you could do this, Corvus, hit him in the face, play this, punch him in the face, you get Corvus back. So I could see this getting play. I don't play a lot of Demon Hunter. I've played less than 30 games with Demon Hunter. So, but I played against it a lot, and this card doesn't seem busted enough to fit into Demon Hunter. But again, getting a massive rework here. So once we see the rest of the cards, this might actually end up making the cut. But yeah, that's about it. Those are all the new cards. Again, I'm planning on making another video on all the changed cards, another video on returning cards, and another video on staying cards, and then also another video on cards that have rotated out or they're just not going to be in the core set. God, this ended up being like 30 minutes. So I don't know. It's so much content. And we're just talking about what, like 10, 15 cards here? 29 cards? I think it's 29. Maybe I don't know how to count, but I think it's about 29 cards and there are 235. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to enter the giveaway. I'll pull the winner in a couple days here, and then yeah, good luck on ladder and stay hydrated.